Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Brittany Howard, Diamond Ambassador, and I am so excited to share my heart with you tonight on some things. I hope that your August is off to a great start. Congratulations to everybody who ranked up or re ranked in July. We had an awesome month as a team, and I'm definitely looking forward to what August beholds for us. So, I started preparing for this call this morning. Actually, I started preparing for this call last week because I heard some of my hardworking gold ambassadors that I know have diamond potential sharing their struggles and what feels hard to them right now on a group coaching call that we were having. And so this morning, I started the call by asking my leaders, if I do not become a diamond, it will be because fill in the blank. And I wanted to know everyone's fill in the blank. And what's super interesting is that for every answer that I received, I told everybody to message me privately. That way they could feel free to be completely vulnerable. But for every answer I received it more than one time, multiple times. Everything overlapped, including my very, very favorite answer. And that was Michelle's answer because she said, if I do not become a diamond, it will be because I'm dead. And Kayleen Yoder said the same thing. So I got a good laugh out of that. But in all seriousness, I did get some really good answers from people, very common fears and struggles that literally every single ambassador goes through and has to wrestle with and work through. And it's interesting too, because if I had asked Michelle Stuchel that question 2 years ago, even, I would have gotten a completely different answer because she wouldn't have been so sure that, she absolutely was not going to fail, right? She would have had a lot of objections in her mind, like, what if this? What if that? Okay, so I just want to preface this call by saying those things. There's nothing new under the sun, really. That's what you need to know. Okay, so here's what everybody wants to know. Can I really do this? Can I go all the way? Do I have what it takes? Can I be as successful as I want to be in Plexus? And my answer is really just a resounding yes. Yes. Two-syllable yes. You can. You can as soon as you decide that you're going to be successful. It starts with a decision. Guys, I watched mountains move at the end of July. Mountains. And you know how they moved? One shovel at a time. And you know what else? You know why the mountain moved? Because a decision was made. Someone decided, I'm going after it, and they did it. Did they have doubts and fears and stress along the way? Absolutely. But did they accomplish what they set out to do? Also, absolutely, because they had decided. And there were several points throughout the month where the uplines had to get on the phone and say, you can do this. Here's some tips, but you can do this. Okay. But it started with a decision. And that is exactly the same how it's going to start with your journey to diamond. It's going to start with you deciding that no matter what, you're going to be a diamond. All right. So I want to share with you guys. I promised you that I was going to share with you success indicators. Like, how do you know? How can you pick apart, or not pick apart, but separate the people who will be diamonds from the people who won't make it to diamond? How can I tell? And it's very, very simple. So I'm just going to show you. I'll start the call with this. Can you guys see that? You see that? Okay. So, success indicators is really only four things that I'm looking for. Things that I see diamonds have in common. First of all, are you willing to work? This business is work, guys. It's a business. Can you imagine opening any other kind of business and not being willing to put work into it? I mean, it's hard work. Okay. So are you willing to work, and are you willing to work hard? Because if you want to make the income that a brain surgeon makes, which is what I make, you don't get there by not working hard. You get there by working very hard. So that's the first thing. If you're going to build any kind of business, you have to be willing to work hard. Number two, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to grow and improve and change yourself sometimes if needed? And I don't mean not be true to yourself and who you are as a person. I mean, are you willing to grow into the best version of yourself? Are you willing to make changes along the way? But mainly, are you willing to put, learning is also work. Okay. So this really could be like a subtitle under are you willing to work? But learning is work. A lot of people I see, they're willing to put the work in on building their brand, on doing their income producing activity, but they don't want to take the time to do the work of actually learning, growing as a person, or even growing in your skill set. Guys, there are some things you're going to have to learn. Can you imagine any other profession where you make what a brain surgeon makes, where there is no education required? And I'm not saying you have to have a degree, but I will say you have to learn some things. You're going to have to pick up a book or two. You're going to have to watch some training videos, listen to some podcasts. Input equals output. Okay. So are you willing to do the work of learning and growing and improving yourself and your skill set? Here's the next thing. Are you willing to get out of your comfort zone? Christina and I scratch our heads all of the time because we wake up every day grateful. Like we seriously are just grateful and just scratch our heads trying to figure out why everybody's not doing this. Because I do realize that when you're in the thick of it, it feels hard. But once you get to diamond and you look back on the journey, you really can say that really wasn't as hard. Wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. For the amount of money that I make now, it should have felt harder than it did. That's how we feel now. Okay. The reason why everybody doesn't do this is because they are addicted to their own comfort. Comfort is the enemy of progress, to quote one of my favorite lines from The Greatest Showman. It is so true, though. People don't want to get uncomfortable. If you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone, you will not be successful at this. Okay. Nobody's gonna be able to help you. Comfort zone could look like you just are unwilling to put yourself out there because you don't want to face rejection, because that stings sometimes, right? Sometimes getting out of your comfort zone could be putting the work in. Sometimes people are lazy and they just don't want to say no to themselves. They don't want to say no to what they want to do so that they can say yes to what they really want to do later down the road. Sometimes it's just an issue of laziness. Okay. So and that goes back to point number one. So are you willing to get out of your comfort zone is a success indicator of whether or not you're going to be a diamond. If you are willing to do that, then you can go as far as you want to go. All right. And then the last thing is, will you keep going and never quit? Really, at the end of the day, guys, what it boils down to is the only way for you to not be a diamond is for you to quit. Do you plan to quit? If the answer is no, then just decide you're going to be a diamond. It really is that simple. Okay. All right. So those are the success indicators. Now, let's talk about a couple things that are not success indicators. Let me pull up my notes. Okay. Number one, having lots and lots of extra time or having any spare time at all. Not a success indicator, because guys, successful people don't really have extra time. Successful people are generally busy, productive people. If they're not working, building a business, they're generally putting their time somewhere. They're going to put their time to valuable use. That's why they're successful. Okay. Not wanting to put the time in. If somebody's saying, I don't really have time to do what it takes to grow this business, that basically the root of that is simply they're just believing that it's not worth the time that they would have to put in. It's not that they don't have the time, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? So people who are diamonds in this company, we have the exact same amount of time in a day that somebody who's not a diamond or somebody who is not even interested in working this business has. So if somebody's not a diamond, and they're saying that it's because they don't have time to grow it, or let's just say somebody's working really hard right now and they're putting lots and lots and lots of time in, but they're wondering, will I be able to keep this pace forever? What they're really wondering is it going to be worth it if I do this? Is it going to be worth my time? Not a success indicator, how much time you have. Okay. So also not a success indicator, how big is your network? Because I did not have a big network whenever I started. Small network, lived out in the middle of nowhere in the country, did not know a lot of people because I had never had a career. I had always been a stay-at-home mom. And I mean, I didn't even know anybody in the town that I was actually residing in. I moved in with my parents as a single mom after a divorce. I knew nobody there. My dad was a pastor, so I went to his church and it consisted of like less than, I don't know, 30 families. So, I mean, I didn't know many people at all. I had no network when I started this. So, not having a big network when you first start is not an indicator of whether or not you can go all the way. Everybody that has joined my team that's on my diamond team right now are people that I met after I started my business, just so you know. And I think that most of the people on my team who are jewels would probably say the same thing. All right. Also not a success indicator, having a certain personality. You don't have to be an extrovert, a people person, whatever you want to call those people who are just like out there and they're confident and they're bold and they're not afraid of rejection. They're not afraid of putting themselves out there. That's not me. I'm an introvert. And I mean, I'm still a diamond. Okay. Also not a success indicator, having lots of influence when you start out. So that kind of goes back to the network thing. I mean, I would say that when I started, the people who did know me, they probably would have said, she's got a good head on her shoulders. But I just didn't know a lot of people. Okay. So I couldn't have had massive amounts of influence. I didn't know massive amounts of people. But influence is something that can be built, just like a network can be built. Influence just means you're solving problems for people or that you're adding value to people. Okay, so that is something that can be developed. You don't have to have tons of influence starting out in order to be a diamond. Quick success at any point in your business is also not a success indicator. It's so amazing when somebody jumps right in and just seems to just fly effortlessly through the ranks, hitting no obstacles along the way. We've all seen those people. We're all amazed by those people. Not a success indicator. Okay. It doesn't mean anything for the long term because everybody hits a wall at some point in their business if they're not taking all of the right actions every single day. And most people that do this are humans, right? And so they're going to fall short in some area at some point, okay? It's normal. It happens to every single one of us. It's not a success indicator. If you were not a fast starter, not a success indicator. I was not a fast starter. Guys, it took me like over a year to go gold. Okay. So I'm just let that sit. So also not a success indicator, having a great upline. The most important thing in your business is not that you have a great upline, it's that you be a great upline. It's not that you have a strong leader, it's that you be a strong leader. But newsflash, if you're on this team call right now, you got plenty of strong leaders. So really, there's no excuse. You have every single resource that you need to be successful at this. We have plenty of diamonds in this company who had no working upline up 7 levels, guys, and they figured it out. It can be done. It starts with a decision. All right. Also, not a success indicator, being just like the other diamonds. Which diamonds? You mean like the young ones, like Abby Kappa, who's in her early 20s, or like the older ones who are grandmothers at this point? Charlotte Seams in her 60s has 12 kids. Or you mean the one who has no kids at all? Or do you mean the one who is Black, Robin Sullivan, number 2 in the entire company right now? The Hispanic one, Sylvia Porter? The men who are diamonds? Which diamonds do you feel like you have to be just like? Because we have diamonds from every age, gender, race. I mean, guys, it doesn't really matter. It starts with a decision. You do not have to be just like somebody else. The overweight diamonds, the underweight diamonds. Sometimes I wonder how diamonds who are underweight, who didn't need to lose any weight at all, how do they feel about endorsing a weight loss product? Do you think they ever have self-defeating thoughts? Do you think that they ever fear that people won't take them seriously because they didn't have weight to lose in the first place? I mean, guys, everybody's got mind trash they have to work through. Okay. So the root of that fear that you have to be just like other diamonds is really that somebody's already doing it better. That's what you're telling yourself. Somebody's already out there doing it better than I can do it. And here's the truth. The truth is there's room for you too. The world is not a place of scarcity and limits. It's a place of opportunities, and the needs in the world are infinite. You have to go diamond the way that only you can go diamond. You are going to reach the people that you are meant to reach. Do not be distracted by somebody else's talents and strengths. Focus on your own. I love this quote from Maya Angelou. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. Guys, that can only happen when you're operating out of your strengths. It cannot happen. You can't like yourself, like what you do, and like how you do it if you are always trying to operate out of somebody else's talent. You have gifts and talents that only you have. The world needs what you have to offer. God made you exactly the way he wanted you, and he does not make mistakes. All right, so those things are not success indicators, although common misconceptions that they are. So now I want to address some fears surrounding this idea of success. Some of these fears sound warm and fuzzy. So I'm going to call these fears the warm and fuzzy fears. And here's the first one. My why isn't big enough. I'm not successful yet because I just don't have a big enough why. And honestly, guys, the root of this is not that your why is not big enough. Everybody has a why. Everybody has some kind of dream that they know that if time and money were no object, that this is what their life would look like. Like if you knew you couldn't fail, you would just do this. Everybody has a dream. It might be hidden in your heart, but everybody has like a dream life. Okay. So the root of this, my why isn't big enough, is really a fear of failure. It's you don't want to allow yourself to dream because you don't want to be disappointed. Because what if you don't make it? Because what if you can't find the people who want this as bad as you want this? Because what if you do find them and then they all quit on you because you can't lead them well enough? See how that's fear? That, honey, is not your why not being big enough. That is you not believing in yourself. That is fear. All right, so address that fear, which I'm going to address a little bit about that later, about all these fears, not being able to lead, not being good enough, all of that. All right. But just recognize that for what it is. Here's another warm and fuzzy sounding fear. I can't be successful because my husband is not supportive of me. You could take that sentence and sub friends or family. Can't be supportive because my blank isn't supportive of me. The root of that fear is you are believing that your success depends on your circumstances. Remember that list of success indicators that I showed you guys earlier? Having supportive network, having supportive husband, it doesn't make the list. Now, I don't say this lightly because I understand that that's a difficult situation to be in if you feel like you have nobody to support you. When I first started this business, my husband did support me. So this is not an actual hurdle that I faced when I started, but there have been points throughout my business where I wondered if my husband was. And I wondered if maybe if I went to him directly and asked, do you want me to quit? He might would have said yes. So I didn't always feel like I had his 100% support behind every decision that I ever made for my business or about growing my business or about the time that I put into my business. Okay. So I do understand that it's hard. But when you believe that your success is dependent upon some circumstance or some person outside of you, you are making yourself a victim. That is a victim mindset. Okay. There's no way to sugarcoat that. It's just something to be aware of. Now, guys, we all have hurdles in this business. Even if you might have this hurdle of my husband's not supportive of me, but you at the same time, you might not have the hurdles that I have faced. I did have a supportive husband, but I did not have influence, a bold personality, where I didn't care what people think of me. I did not have a big network. There's a lot of things that I didn't have that you probably do have. Okay. So it, again, everybody has hurdles that they have to jump over and work through, even if it's in your own mind. Somebody else's support of you is not an indicator of whether or not you can go all the way. Okay. All right. Here's another warm, fuzzy fear. People are going to be critical of me. I mean, let me just go ahead and put your mind at ease. If you have a fear of people being critical of you, they will be critical of you. As you increase your exposure, you are also going to increase something else, your haters. You are not fighting for the criticizers, okay? There's gonna be people out there who don't want you to win. It's a small fraction of people, it should be, okay? But those are not the people that you're doing this for. What you focus on is going to expand. You can't sit there and focus on the people who are criticizing out there. Guys, there's people out there who need what you are offering. They need our products, they need our opportunity, and most importantly, they need you. They need your gifts, your talents, your leadership, and your mentorship. They need you. Okay. So if you have to fight for the ones who need what you have. You can listen to your critics or you can listen to your calling, but you're not going to be able to listen to both. What you focus on is going to expand. So what are you focusing on? The naysayers or the people out there that you know need what you have? The more you listen to your calling and focus on that, the more those critics are going to fade into the background. I'm not going to say they're going to go away completely because they won't. They won't. They will always be there. No matter how successful you become, there will always be critics. But that you can't focus there, because if you do, it'll drive you nuts and it'll steal your future. Don't let the critics steal your future. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Here's another warm, fuzzy fear. I don't want to sacrifice time with my kids to be successful at this. You could also sub my friends or you could sub my family. I don't want to sacrifice time with blank to be successful at this. Root of that is I don't believe that this is worth it, number one. Or it could be I don't really believe that this is going to work. I'm scared that I'm going to sacrifice this thing that's important to me for nothing. It's not really going to work. It's fear, it's doubt, and it's not true. Okay. Secondly, here's another thing to keep in mind. Priority does not equal time equality. And what I mean by that is sometimes we get confused by thinking that whatever we spend the most time on or give the most time to, that must be what's most important to us. And that is not the case. For example, if I'm spending 12 hours a day caring for my children, does that mean that I'm not putting God first? No, it doesn't. I'm putting God first because I am spending time with my children. I'm doing what he's called me to do. If I'm spending time working my business, even if I'm doing it with my kids crawling all over me, or I'm doing it while they're sitting there playing on the floor, playing a game, and I'm not playing with them. Me working my business, is that me putting my business before my kids? Absolutely not. What if I had to work to survive? What if I lived 100 years ago and had to grow my own food to survive. And I had small children who were depending on me to go bring in the harvest so that they could literally eat. If I put them down and tell them to entertain themselves, or even tell them to work with me so that we can survive, is that me putting my work before my children? No, it's putting my children first, because that's why I'm working, right? It's for them. So just because you spend more time on something than you do something else, it doesn't mean it's a higher priority to you. Okay, so just get that straight in your mind. And for the record, I've not sacrificed any time with my friends. Somebody sent me this actual message earlier. If I don't become a diamond, it's because I'm not willing to sacrifice time with my friends in order to get there. I have not sacrificed any. I don't know what they're talking about. I got way too much time with my friends, sometimes too much. They ask me to do something, I'd be like, I can't do that. I'm an introvert. Y'all pick better friends next time. I don't sacrifice any time with my friends. Me working my business is spending time with my friends. We go on lake trips. We got trips to the mountains planned. We go into Mexico next month. I got plenty of time with my friends. Okay, other common fears. These are not warm fuzzies, but these are common things that everybody deals with at some point. Okay, what if I run out of people to talk to? Well, you will. If you're not intentional about not running out of people to talk to, you will eventually run out of people to talk to. That's why you can start right now making a new friend every single day. If you start that right now, then guess what? You will never run out of people to talk to. What if I get burned out? What if I cannot keep up this pace forever? Well, the answer to that is consistency beats intensity. The way to not kill yourself forever is to develop leaders. I can't do all of this myself, guys. I have a team of well over 10,000 people at this point, and I'm not killing myself to keep it going. Do you know why? Because I've worked smart and I have developed leaders who have developed leaders. So you're not always going to have to keep up this pace forever. Sometimes it can feel like, especially if your team is in momentum, it can feel like, oh my gosh, this is kind of like taking over. In the beginning, when you're building a business, it can feel like that you are putting in a lot of hours and not getting paid for the amount of work that you're doing. But if you keep going and you build this thing, eventually you're going to feel like you are getting paid a lot more than the amount of time you're putting in. That's the beauty of building a business versus having a W-2 job, okay, and working, trading your hours for dollars, okay. So if you keep up the pace forever, if you probably won't be able to keep up like working around the clock forever, but if you develop leaders, and also if you work consistently, that does have a compound effect. Consistency beats intensity any day of the week. There will be times in your business where you have to combine consistency with intensity. That should not be all of the time. And if it is, then you need to take an analysis of how you're spending your time and how you want to spend your time, and maybe bring some balance. But guys, just because you feel stressed out or you feel tired or whatever, these are not signs that your life is out of balance. I mean, think about that applied to parenting. Are there times in your parenting that you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. I'm out of balance. Let me just stop mothering so much so I can bring my life into balance. I mean, I've never had that thought. I've literally never had that thought. Okay. So though, just because you're stressed or tired doesn't mean that you are out of balance. There will be seasons, and that is okay. It's normal. All right. How about this one? What if I'm not a consistent person? What if I want to be a consistent person and I wish I was, but I just constantly let myself down? I say I'm going to do something and then I just generally just fizzle out. What label are you attaching to yourself? You are putting that label on yourself. Did you know that you're only an inconsistent person if you believe that you're an inconsistent person? You're only powerless to change if you believe that you're powerless to change. So I started taking this class called Becoming Indistractable. It's really interesting. But he talks about in there how they did a study about people who were trying to lose weight and how they handled their cravings. And they wanted to know, are cravings actually stronger than willpower for some people? And here's what they found: beliefs of powerlessness are a strong indicator of giving into cravings. Are you believing something about your temperament? Maybe you're thinking, well, I have an addictive personality. Or maybe you keep telling yourself, oh, I'm definitely an all or a nothing kind of person. If you're believing these things about yourself, just know that it's a belief and you can change it. Nobody's attached this label to you except you. Are you having shame over your slip ups that lead to more slip ups? Guys, success is a series of a lot of little bitty right choices. People who have compassion on themselves, this is also very interesting that I learned from my Indestructible class. When you have compassion on yourself, you experience a greater sense of well-being. So, guys, there's a lot of times in my business where I have to have a friend remind me to give myself some grace, because I do tend to be very hard on myself. Christina, Michelle, Fallon, they all have to remind me on a regular basis to be compassionate on myself, especially this year. Not usual, this is not my norm, but just this year of my life, it's been a little extra. And so my friends have constantly reminded me, you're going to have to give yourself some grace. And I do the same thing for them when necessary. So you need to speak to yourself the way that you would speak to a friend in that situation. Sometimes you need to get over your excuses, but other times you need to be compassionate on yourself, depending on what the circumstance is. Okay. All right. So if you're not a consistent person, choose to be a consistent person. Guys, make little promises to yourself that you know you can keep. Start with the small wins, and that can have like a snowball effect. And if you start with small wins that you know you can keep, promises to yourself, then that will boost your confidence and it can lead to bigger wins. Okay. All right. How about this one? What if I don't have the confidence? What if I don't get to diamond because I get tired of being told no and it just hurts my confidence and it deflates me? Guys, go back to the success indicators. Not having confidence or not being able to be told no, like these were not on the success indicators. You just don't give up. You just don't give up. You have to keep learning and growing. Confidence comes with competence. And that goes back to the success indicators: being willing to learn, not giving up. The difference between you and a diamond is that they've been told no more than you have, and they made the choice to keep going. So make the choice. You're going to be told no, and you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. If you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone, there's not anything that anybody's going to be able to do to help you. You have to make that choice, and you have to be willing to do that. All right, how about this one? I don't know how to add value, or I don't know what value I have to add. Goes back to the success indicators, guys. Number 2 was learn. Learn what value you have to add. Go on a journey of self-awareness. Figure it out. Take some personality tests. Read some books. Ask opinions of people. You can literally go to the people closest to you and ask them, what value do I add to your day? What value have I added to your life? How have I ever made your day better? Go start asking people's opinions, and you will figure out what value you have to add or what value you've added in the past. And then you can make a choice of what value you're going to add in the future. Your past is not an indicator of your future unless you allow it to be. It doesn't really matter where you've come from. What matters the most is where you're headed, and that's going to depend on your choices. So go figure out how to add value. Add value just means help people. It means solve problems for people. I know lots of problems you can solve with our products and with our opportunity. So just be focusing on other people and how you can help them and how you can solve problems for them. Here's another one. What if I'm not good enough? And guys, this is something that almost every single person struggles with. That thought, that nagging thought, what if I'm not good enough? It's imposter syndrome. What if I'm not good enough for people to even want to do this with me? What if I can't find people who want to do this with me? Here's the truth, guys. The people who want to do this with you, they're not found, they're created. The success indicators, if you're willing to work and you're willing to learn and you're willing to get out of your comfort zone and you don't give up, then you're going to be talking to people about Plexus. You're going to face some rejection. You're also going to follow up. You're going to hone in on your skill set. You're going to get better at this as you go, because throughout this whole entire process, you're analyzing, why wasn't that successful? Why wasn't that effective? And you're going to improve over time. That's really what it's going to look like. Most people, when they start this, are not good at it at first. Very rarely does somebody come in who's just a natural at this. I was not a natural at this. Okay. Christina would tell you she wasn't either. It took her 3 weeks just to go silver. Michelle, she was not a natural at it either. She went silver very quickly, but her journey has been steady, learning, growing, failing, getting up, trying again, learning some more, working hard. That is what the journey is going to look like. You're not going to find these people. You're going to create those people. And if you're doing all those things, working hard, talking to people about Plexus, learning as hard as you're working, and analyzing what's effective, then it's inevitable that you are going to create business builders. Here's another fear. What if nobody has drive like I have? Guys, that's the flip side of the same coin of what if I can't find people who want to do it with me? So one side is I'm not good enough. The other side is they're not good enough. You're not the only driven person in the whole wide world. There are people out there just like you. If you're driven and you have grit and perseverance, guys, there's so many people out there who are just like you. You can't look around you. If you're not looking around and you can't spot people like that, then you need to just make some new friends. There's plenty of people out there who are driven and who are willing to do what it takes. Okay. You can go find those people and then develop them into business builders. All right. So that is just you believing other people aren't good enough. What about this one? I'm not going to be a good enough leader and they're all going to quit on me. Well, name one diamond who has never had somebody quit on them. I mean, just type in the chat. Go ahead. I will wait. Crickets. Guys, there's no such thing as a diamond who's never had anybody quit on them, first of all. Everybody, this happens to everybody. Now, everybody that you sign up shouldn't quit on you, but it's inevitable that you're going to lose some people along the way. It's normal, okay? Here's another one. What if I can't develop the people that I casted vision to? What if they do go all in, but they don't have the influence to be successful? What if they can't figure out how to brand themselves? What if they get stuck and I don't know what to tell them to do? These are all skills that can be learned. Your job as a leader, cast vision high, pour belief into them that they can do it. Tell them what the success indicators are. Don't allow people to quit and let them go figure it out. You can coach them along the way, but they have to take ownership of their own business. It's not all up to you. You can also hone in on the skills of coaching. That's a skill that you can learn as a leader. Okay, so leadership, it's not whether or not you were born as a leader, it's are you willing to do what it takes to learn the skills to be a leader? But in the meantime, while your people are figuring out how to brand themselves or how to develop influence because they currently don't have any, while they're figuring it out, you go be successful. Don't go into management mode. If you're sitting there thinking, well, as soon as my people go do this, this, and this, then I will reach my goals, that's management mode. Your success is not up to your team. It's up to you. Okay. Also, define good enough. We never can really define good enough. Like, what does that even look like? We're all over here thinking I'm never going to be good enough. But what does good enough look like? I'm just here to tell you that the finish line on this lie is always moving. And if you become a diamond, that does not fix it. It just moves it further ahead. You will never, ever have the feeling that you are good enough, ever. And if you cannot pinpoint what good enough is, then this is going to torment you at every single level of success. Do not let that define you, and do not let it stop you. Just put one foot in front of the other. Okay? If you have this feeling of I'm not good enough, welcome to 99% of the rest of the company. All right? Imposter syndrome. When somebody feels undeserving of their achievements and is afraid of being found out. Who am I to be doing this? That's imposter syndrome thoughts. But the truth is, you do not have to be the best in the world to add value to somebody's life. You can just start by helping people, by solving a problem for somebody, by making somebody smile. If you don't know where to start, make it a habit every single day to just give at least one person a genuine compliment. And you know what else? Start by going silver. And if you can do that, then you can go silver again. So go sign up 3 more. And then also you can show somebody else how to do it. If you're signing up 3 people every single month and showing somebody else how to sign up 3 people every single month, and you do that over and over and over and over, you are going to go diamond at some point. Okay? It's really that simple. Here's another fear. What if I do all of these things and it doesn't work? Then you're not doing all of the things. When people say, I'm doing everything that y'all say to do, but it's not working, I'm not getting results, you're not doing all the things. Something is missing. There are 4 pillars. Something is missing. It could be that you're recruiting well, but not retaining well. It could be that you're recruiting and retaining well, but you can't get people to duplicate. It could be that you're doing all 3, but you're not leading well. It could be any of the 4 pillars, but if you are doing all the things but going nowhere, you're not doing all the things. So figure out what is missing. It's a proven process. There are only 4 pillars. Okay. What if I get all the way there and it isn't worth it? Really, the root of this is, what if I put all this work in and I don't make it? Because I think everybody knows what an extra $30,000 a month would do for their family, for their community, for people that they care about. I think everybody has a pretty good idea of what that would mean. And if you're willing to work consistently, even if you don't go as fast as you want to go, even if it took 10 years or longer, most people work their whole entire lives and don't make that kind of money. So I really don't think it's a matter of, is it worth it? I think the root behind that is, can I do it? Am I actually going to make it? It's fear. It's just doubt. Okay. So guys, let me just close with this. We have a tendency to think that successful people are different than us, that they don't have these fears. They do have these fears. What sets them apart is not that they don't experience doubt and fear. What sets them apart is that they don't let the fears hold them back. They just do it scared. And that is a choice. So quit comparing and just go all in. Just decide that you are going to be a diamond and just go. Go. Figure it out. Do the things. Fail forward. Analyze. Figure out what didn't work. Do it again. Keep going. And it's inevitable. Just do it. All right. That's all I got. Stop recording.